Hey, we're on lesson 2 of module 7, use strategies to find a percent of a quantity. And right now you're probably thinking, whoa, what does that mean? By the time we're done with this lesson, you'll be just fine with it. Okay, first thing to ask, what is 32% of 25? So let's break this down so we understand a little bit more about what it means. You can use equivalent ratios to find 32% of 25. The first ratio is the percent. How can you express 32% as a ratio? Remember, percents are out of 100, so I'm going to change it into 32 over 100. So it's super simple writing a percent as a fraction because it will always be over 100. The second ratio is a part to whole ratio. The whole is 25 and the part is unknown. We're going to write the second ratio as a fraction. Use a question mark to represent the unknown part and set the ratios equal to each other. So first, we have our 25 down there because that's the whole. The whole goes on the bottom. And then this would be the part right here. We don't know the part, so we're going to put a question mark. We're going to rewrite that. And then we're going to take this and drop it down here. So 32 over 100. In this case, I am able to take 100 to be 25 by multiplying by 4. Up here, we'll do the same thing and we'll multiply by 4. Not multiply, we're dividing by 4. I'm sorry. And we're going to be getting 8. And I think I went a little ahead, but I have the rest of it down here for us. What multiplication fact will help you to find the unknown factor? It's going to be the 4, because I know 100 divided by 4 is 25. We're going to use the multiplication factor you wrote in part C to find equivalent ratios. So we're going to, we don't know that, but we know this. So I'm actually going to work backwards and I'm going to divide by 4. And I'll divide by 4 on top. And I get 8. So 32% of 25 is 8. That's saying that if I took a test and I got 32% on it, that means I got 8 out of 25 questions correct, which some of you will not be very happy about. Okay, that's the way you do it, by putting it in the rates and the ratios and everything. But you don't always have that time to set it up. So what I tell you to do, what another way that you can do it, the word of right here means multiplication. So all you're going to do is I'm going to change 32% into a decimal by going 1, 2. So I'm going to just rewrite that right down here for us. So I got 0.32 times 25. And when I put that in my calculator, I get 8. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. You can do it whichever way that you would like to do it. So it doesn't matter too much to me which way you do it. Okay, let's look at the next one. Let's change it back to black. Use multiplication to find 45% of 80. Write 45% as a fraction. So 45 over 100 because percents are out of 100. The next part B, I can blank 80 by the fraction in part A to find 45% of 80. I can multiply. Let's look at C. Complete the multiplication to show how you can use the fraction from part A to find 45% of 80. So we're going to take our 45, drop it down on top of 100. And this is kind of what I talked about at the very bottom of the last question. But instead of changing the percent into a decimal, they changed it into a fraction. So the word of means multiplication. So they're taking 45 over 100 times 80. So if I take 45 and I change it into a fraction on my calculator, if I get the right things, 45 over 100 times 80, and that's going to get me 36. I'm going to skip that step right there. So on your calculator, you times 45 over 100 times 80, and you get 36. And the last one on this page, Alyssa has to make 250 invitations for her party. So the total is 250. She has completed 72% of them. How many invitations has she completed? We're going to write the ratio to represent the percent. So 72% would be 72 over 100. What operation does the word of indicate? Multiplication. Write a multiplication problem to find the number of completed invitations. So I'm going to take my ratio. I have 72 times 100 or over 100, and my total is 250. So I'm going to multiply by 250. So I am going to put in my calculator 72 over 100 times 250, and I get 180 invitations. So all I'm going to do is I take my percent, I write it as a fraction, and then I multiply it by the total that it's out of. Let's flip our paper. We're now on the back side of our paper, or the next side, depends how they got printed. And you can find this on page 216 if you want to see it in the book, or maybe you lost your notes. Scott planted 20% of a garden with roses. What is the area of the part of the garden planted with roses? So first, let's look at A and break it down. How can you find the total area of the garden? Remember, area of a square is length times width. So I'm going to take 10 and 5. And I get 50 feet squared. Now we're going to go to section B. You know that the rose garden is 20% of the total garden. Write 20% as a ratio. So 20 over 100 because percents are out of 100. And we're going to then write a ratio to represent the unknown area of the garden planted with roses compared to the total area. So I don't know this part, but I know the bottom is 50. And then let's look at D. Use equivalent ratios to find 20% of the rose garden. So I'm going to take my 20 over 100. I'm going to bring it down. On this side, I'm going to write 50. You guys know to get from 100 to 50, I'm dividing by 2. I'll divide by 2 on top, and I get 10. So 10 feet squared. Now, if you didn't like that way, we could have done it like we did it on the last page. We take our percent and write it as a ratio. So we have 20 over 100, and then we just multiply it by 50. That's probably less for you guys to worry about doing. And so that would be less areas to make a mistake, and you'll still get 10 that way. Okay, check understanding. Shonda has $1.25. Or not $1.25, I'm sorry, $125. She spends 35% of the money she has on a concert ticket. How much does Shonda pay for the concert ticket? So we're going to take our percent. We're going to turn it into a fraction by writing it over 100 because percents are out of 100. And we're going to multiply it by 125 because that's the total amount of money. In our calculator, we're taking 35 over 100 times 125. And now, when I do that, I get 43 3/4. Now, we're saying how much. I'm not going to write the amount of money that she has in a fraction. 3/4 I know is equivalent to 0.75 because quarters. If I have 3 quarters, I have 75 cents. So it's going to be $43.75. Okay, so on these, we're going to find the percent of each number, just like we've been doing, but this time we don't have any words to get in your way. It's straight up problems here. I put places to work down here, so I'm just going to make it go across so I have room. 10% would be 10 over 100. The word of means multiplying, so 10 over 100 times 70, that gives us 7. Over here, 55%, we're going to write that as 55 over 100. Of means multiplication and 55. So 55 over 100 times 55, I got 30 and 1/4. Which means you could also write it as 30.25. I will take the fraction or the decimal. And our last section, I'm cutting it in half so I can keep them separate. 75% of 8, I have 75 over 100. Of means multiplication, and we're going to multiply it by 8. So 75 over 100 times 8, I got 6. And our last one, 90% is 90 over 100 of this multiplication, and we're going to multiply by 20. So 90 over 100 times 20, and I got 18. Okay, that's all there is to on your own. Let's flip to the next page, and we're going to start what do you remember? Let me zoom in a little bit so we can see it. Okay, remember on this section, it would be best if you try to do it by yourself and then start the video so you can see if you're doing it right or not. So try to do what you can, and when you've done what you can, come back and start it again. Cassie is painting a rectangular wall in her bedroom. The wall is 12 feet by 15 feet. So this is going to be like the flower garden problem, I'm pretty sure. She plans on painting the top 20% of the wall green and the rest of the wall tan. What is the area of the part of the wall that she plans to paint green? So first, we need to find the area of the wall. To do that, area equals length times width of a rectangle. So I'm taking 12 times 15. And I get 180. So it's going to be out of 180, but I'm going to find what 20% of that is. So 20% over 100 times 180. That gives me 36. And labeling it, since it's area, it's feet squared. So that was a two-step problem. And the reason we had to find the area first is because they didn't give us the total number. We had to find that. The regular price of a pair of sneakers is $40. So we got that. The sale price is 25% off the regular. What is the sale price? So 25% would be 25 over 100 times 40. On our calculator, we have 25 over 100 times 40, and we get 10. Now, that is not the answer because 10 is the amount we're taking off. If the original shoe costs $40 and we take $10 off, that means we're going to subtract it. We get $30 as our answer. Okay, then down here at the bottom are the ones that don't have words with them. So 13% of 400, that means we're going to take 13 over 100 times 400. I got 52 as my answer there. 60% is 60 over 100 as a fraction. Of means multiplication, and we're going to multiply it by 50. So 60 over 100 times 50, I got 30. And last one on the left-hand side, we have 45%, which is 45 over 100. Of means multiplication. So we're going to times it by 20. 45 over 100 times 20, got 9. Other side, 25% is 25 over 100 times 500. I got 125 there. 10% would be 10 over 100 times 100 equals, in this case, we can cross, if you don't want to type it in, when this number right here is the same as this number, it just cross cancels and then we get a 10. But if you don't want to do that, you can type in your calculator too. And our last one, 105 over 220. I just totally messed that up. Don't mind me as I'm erasing. 105%. To change it into a fraction, we're going to write it as 105 over 100. Now, I know that looks weird, but let's just say that you got bonus points on this one. Of means multiplication, and it's out. We're going to multiply it by 220. So 105 over 100 times 220 equals 231. And that's all there is from lesson 2.